EU asked to ease fingerprint checks on British tourists. Published by the Telegraph. UK wants French border guards to adopt light touch when there are excessive queues. The government has asked the European Union to water down border fingerprint checks on British tourists to avoid travel chaos and delays next summer. Britons travelling to the EU from November 17 will have their fingerprints scanned and photos taken, as well as showing their passport when entering the continent for the first time. There are fears the new entry and exit system, EES, will cause long queues and delays at Dover when thousands of holidaymakers will each have to undergo the biometric checks in order to cross the Channel to France. In a statement to the Commons, Seema Malhotra, the immigration minister, said the government is lobbying the European Commission and member states for extended emergency measures to allow French border guards to fast-track travelers at peak times. Under the plans, the border guards will be able to adopt a light touch, where they do not take fingerprint scans or photographs of all travelers when there are excessive queues. However, these light touch precautionary measures are only proposed for the first 6 months after the introduction of the EES system. Britain wants to extend them beyond the summer holiday period when queues will be at their longest. We believe that extending these beyond 6 months would improve throughput at the EU's external border if queues form during peak periods in early 2025 due to the additional processing time required for EES, said Ms. Malhotra. The government has warned that disruption is likely when the scheme is introduced in November and has blamed the Tories for failing to prepare Dover and other ports where there are juxtaposed controls. The other two are London St Pancras and Eurotunnel in Folkestone, where French border officials operate on UK territory and travellers have to do their biometric checks before they leave the UK. Ms. Malhotra said EES would increase processing times at border crossings where UK travellers enter the Schengen area. Insufficient progress has been made on ensuring that these impacts, as well as other potential impacts, are minimized, with disruption likely when the scheme is introduced, she said. This is particularly true for journeys involving travel through London St Pancras, Eurotunnel in Folkestone and the Port of Dover. On Monday, the Home Office also announced new legislation that will enable French border officials to operate within an expanded border control zone at Dover to avoid a buildup of queues as travelers undergo the fingerprint checks. At present, French border guards can only operate in the eastern docks, but the law change will allow them to also carry out checks in the western docks where there will be bespoke facilities to deal with the hundreds of passengers traveling by coach. The EES is an automated IT system designed to track travelers from third countries, such as the UK, entering and leaving European Union member states. Since Brexit, UK passport holders are only permitted to stay in EU countries for a cumulative total of 90 days in a 180-day period without a visa or other permit. The EES will tally up this number each time a passport is used at border crossing and detect those who have exceeded their allowance. A refusal of entry is also detected. The launch date is understood to be November 17, although it could be pushed back a week if airports are not ready to deal with the extra controls. Where EES is in place, passengers will only need to scan their passport at the automated gates, as they would when entering the UK. However, the first time they use the EES, they will be required to supply their fingerprints and have their photo taken at the crossing, which will cause extra delays. This will then be kept on file for 3 years, so people won't need to do this extra step each time. Anyone refusing to supply the information will be denied entry.